dividend payout. A lot of companies halted dividend payouts in the last 2 years, 2022, 2023. Some companies didn't pay dividend at all. And some of them were saying that, hey, we're struggling. We're not even declaring profits. We're finding it difficult because of FX instability, operational imbalance, and everything happening to these companies. And they said that, hey, we need to recover. We need to be, you can't give what you don't have. If you don't have profits, why would you give dividend? And that's the conversation we're having today. We have the likes of MTN, we have Nigerian Breweries, a lot of the FMCG companies in the last 2 years that halted dividend payout and now paying dividend. And it looks like a lot of the dividend investors are going to be interested about this episode. We are very much welcome. This is in good company. And I have with me the city gentleman of Lagos, Eddie Kaja. You're very much welcome to this episode.
Yeah, thank you very much, Frank.
Yeah, it's a great time. My name is Frank Fagball. You heard from him. And let's go right into the conversation. A lot of people joining us right now, they're trying to figure out dividend. What's your take about dividend? Let's hear from you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Frank. Yes, when you mention dividends, it's always very good to explain it to your audience.
Yeah.
Basically, when you invest in stock, in shares, there are two ways you can make money. One, by the capital gain, what we call capital gain. That's the appreciation of the share price. Maybe assuming you bought at 20 naira, and by the time you want to sell, the shares maybe are going for 30 naira. So if you sell, you make gain of 10 naira.
Yeah.
Then on the part of dividends, it's an income that you gain without selling the stock, without selling the shares. So at the end of the year, companies declare profits and say, okay, fine. From the profit we have done, we are giving so to our shareholders in compensation, at least to give them something back. So that is dividend.
Okay, so if you look at what has happened in the last 2 years, MTN, I remember I was in the investors call with the CEO, and he was talking about what has happened in the last few years, and especially that of last year, because it was so unusual. We didn't get dividend from MTN, and we're seeing FMCGs, some of the FMCG Nigerian breweries, the last 2 years halted their dividend payout. So even Nestle did that. They did the same. They halted dividend payout, and right now it looks like there's light at the end of the tunnel. What do you have to say regarding that too?
Yes, in 2023 and 2024, because of macroeconomic headwinds like forex volatility and high interest rates, so that eroded the bottom line of some companies. Actually, it's only when you make profit and your return earnings are very, very strong that you can be able to pay dividends.
Very true.
Because of these macroeconomic winds, most companies sustained losses, and even eroded their retained earnings for those that had, and equally even some of them put their shareholders fund in a negative territory. So based on that, they couldn't sustain their dividend payment, because some of them, like MTN, you mentioned, even MTN was listed in 2029, and since then they have been paying dividend up to 2023. The same thing with Nigerian Breweries. I think from 2020 to 2022, Nigerian Breweries have been paying dividends.
Yeah. Except
in 2023, that this problem started. So, actually, it's because of the macroeconomic headwinds that led to them sustaining heavy losses. So that's the reason why at least you have to make profits before you can pay.
2023, Nigerian Breweries losses 142 billion naira loss. If you look at 2024, they also had 183 billion naira loss, and they retained losses at 169 billion as well. But 2025, we're seeing that mid-year, 88 billion naira profit after tax, 5x 2022 profits. What do you think that this is? Do you think there's something magical that is happening, or you think that it's a reflection of we of the economic stability that Nigeria is experiencing relatively? Do you think that is the major reasons why? Well, that's one of the major reasons why we're seeing all of this play out with their balance sheet.
Yeah, somehow you are correct. What actually happened? If you look at their financial statement, their result for 2022 and 2023 and 2024, the major impact on them was the FX losses as a result of Naira devaluation.
Very true.
Most of them sustained heavy foreign exchange losses. Then the persistent increase in MPR, which raised the cost of borrowing, equally affected their interest expense. So these two items impacted them heavily, and they eroded their bottom line. That's their profit after tax. Now, coming into 2025, as a matter of fact, towards the end of 2024, so recovery started coming in, basically because of FX stability. At least the fluctuation in the exchange rate was a bit minimal, unlike what we had in 2023 and 2024. So if you check their financial, most of them, the FX losses started dropping in Q4 2024. By Q1, most of them have exited that FX loss and started even making foreign exchange gain. So with that, because if a company now, if you sustain close to maybe about 180 billion in FX loss, and that one comes back, at least it will put you in a better shape. So that was exactly what happened. Then coming to Q1, then Q2, and most of them have exited that FX loss, and that's why you see them posting a profit. like you said, the Nigerian Breweries.
But we're still in H2.
Okay, still in H2 now.
Yes, we're in H2. MTN, if you look at MTN and Nestle, their recovery is still dependent on the performance of H2.
Sure.
So this is August, and we still have the entire H4. We still have Q4 to go. Do you think that they're still going to experience recovery? Do you think that H2 is also going to be a stellar performance like they had in H1?
Yeah, at times when you want to focus, you mirror what happened in the past. Look at the first half of the year, which ended in June. Now, if you look at Nigerian Breweries, I think the half year H1 at least posted 88 billion, if I'm correct. Then, and with that, if you mirror that performance, definitely we are looking at by the end of the year, they will have something neighborhood of profit close to 170 or 180 billion. That will equally now wipe out their retained losses. I think their shareholder fund is still solid. I think about 549 thereabouts billion. So it's still okay. The only thing is that analysts are projecting by the end of the year, Nigerian Breweries will be able to exit that retained losses and come back, and likely even if you don't pay dividend this year, but we are sure by 2026 definitely they will pay dividend.
Which of the companies do you think is going to pay first? Which of them?
Well, you can't just say, but I believe that Nigerian Breweries, if they sustain the performance in
H2,
in the performance they did in H1 and H2, definitely, I think they will be able to pay dividend this year. If you look at Champion Breweries, that is within that brewery sector. Look at Champion Breweries. I think Champion Breweries was the only company that made posted profit in 2024. I think so. And for the past 6 years, they didn't pay dividends. So coming to 2024, they paid dividends. I think about other 6 kobo thereabout. Now with that, you can see that.
But their dividend is quite small compared to their growth. It's really worrisome. Like
I think the profit in 2024 was about 817 million thereabout.
Yeah.
Now so far in H1, I think they posted 2.2. You can see the growth.
Yeah,
You
true.
can see the projection. And that is the highest profit the company made at least since 2017.
Highest profit.
The highest profit they have made. And this is half year.
Yeah, true.
So if they sustain that momentum, you can see what will happen by the end of the year. So definitely they might increase their dividend payout. Dividend payout is a function of your earnings, how much you are earning, and how willing you are ready to how willing are you to give back to your shareholders. And again, to equally look at your expansion programs you have.
Yeah.
Because the essence of it is, okay, you give back to shareholders and you equally keep for expansion. So it's a matter of your dividend policy, how much do you want to return and how much do you want to give out.
Do you think about I think it was about 400 to 500 billion naira loss in 2024 for MTN, and because this is like the king in the block, it's one of the 1 trillion naira company, the SWAT companies amongst this category. Do you think that MTN can double what they did in H1? Do you think that they can double and recover the entire losses they had in 2024?
Yes.
Do they have the capacity?
In 2024, I think PBT was about 550.
Yeah, 550 billion.
Then PAT, I think about 400 or something. I'm not too sure of the number.
Yeah.
But that's that neighborhood. Now, the recovery started in Q4 2024. And by the end of H1 2025, I think they have hit a profit of about 400 and something billion.
Yeah, true.
Now narrowing their retained earnings, which was about over 500 billion to about 193 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Then the shareholders fund, they brought it down to 42 billion. It was in negative territory and still in negative territory. Now we are projecting that by the end of the year, looking at what they have done in first half of the year,
yeah,
they are likely to hit between 750 to 800 billion naira profits, and that will now give them consolidation. At least I'm sure with that they can exit return their losses and even bring back the shareholders fund to positive territory. With that, I think yes, even though they did not pay, they are not going to pay dividend for this year. By 2026, definitely they will come back and they will pay dividends.
There's also something that I need a lot of our audience to understand. The fact that when we say dividend payout for 2025, sometimes you need to pay attention to the financial year. It also matters because dividend for 2025, you're most likely going to get it in 2026. And some companies, their financial year ends in the following year. So there's always you need to understand this concept anyways. But
yeah, let me just explain that.
Yeah.
Normally, dividends are paid based on a result. When you publish your result,
very true.
For instance, 2024, it's only when you have released your result that you have declared a profit.
Very true.
That you can now think of paying dividends.
Yeah.
But some companies they pay what we call interim dividends. Like now, some of them, they have paid interim dividend for the half year, 2025. So now the results are out. You have posted profit. If you have made maybe say, 20 billion or 30 billion PAT, you can say, based on that, we are now paying so percentage out of it. Now, the same thing at the end of the year, when you close, that means that would be assuming your financial year runs from January to December.
Yeah.
By the time you close, maybe around January, when the earnings season, when companies start releasing their results. Once they release their result, they now declare dividend.
Yeah, true.
And that is for that financial year. They will equally tell you, this is for financial year, and this is when the dividends are likely going to pay, the payment dates, the closure date, and so on. So it is like that.
Yeah.
But some companies too, some of them even pay quarterly dividend, like Seplat. Seplat has paid twice this year. They have declared, at least they paid the Q1, which is the first 3 months, and the second, the Q2, which they have equally declared. But I don't think they have paid, but they will pay. Normally, you can see that in a year they pay 4 times. So that is it. So you have to really look at it. It depends on what you want.
Which of the dividends blew your mind this year? Which of the companies did some magical payout, like handsome payout, in your own opinion?
Well, some small cap and mid cap companies,
Okay.
are coming up. They are paying like Better Class and so other ones. I think Seplat too did increase to that 4 cents or thereabouts.
Yeah.
The banking sector has not. They have not. Some of them, especially the Fugas. The Fugas has not. The Fugas group has not released results. So by the time the results come out, they will not know who is the king there.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm watching, because I know they pay interim dividends.
So what's your advice for dividend investors? Because some investors are looking at, okay, I'm investing for the sake of dividends. Some I'm investing for capital gains. What's your advice for dividend investors? How should they approach the market?
For dividends investor, what we call income-oriented investor, one, it's always good to look at the companies that have that background, that solid background, that are companies that are mature, that can pay you, that can sustain that dividend over the years. Example, Dangote Cement. Dangote Cement at least have been paying dividend for the past 10 years. So it's a mature company. They will pay. In 2023, they paid 30 naira. In 2024, they paid, they retained that 30 naira. And with the level of growth in earning in first half of the year, expectedly that dividend will move more than 30 naira. Now, coming to the banking sector too, you can see during the AGM, for instance, Access Bank said, okay, we are likely going to at least pay at least up to 1 naira interim dividends. That was before the forbearance issue started.
Yeah, true.
So you can now see how the thing is building up. Even when GTCO listed on NSE, their group MD said that, okay, based on prevalent situation and the macroeconomic headwinds, as he does not expect anybody to pay dividend that can give you less than 15% yield.
Oh.
So, and if factor that in, it means you know what it means.
Sure.
You know what it means. I think they paid last year was about that 13 naira there, but I'm not too sure. So, for you to achieve a dividend yield of 15%, that means you have to increase your either you increase your payout ratio or you increase dividend. So, in fact, you have to increase your dividend per share. So, in all, it really depends on, for dividend investors, it depends on what you really want. Look out for those ones that have been regular, that have that trend, their policies to pay dividends.
Yeah.
Like what happened in 2024, most of them dropped because of losses. So you have to really look at those matured companies that do pay dividend, that can weather the storm and still pay dividends.
Buy, sell, hold. Which of them? Let's start. MTN, Champions Brewery, for dividend, by the way. MTN, Champions Brewery, Nestle, and some other Cadbury.
Well, when you want to look at the stock to buy or hold, I don't have to look at only the dividend angle of it. From that point, to me and for me and other other investors, I think the other things you have to consider.
What are the other things?
The other things you have to consider, one, the valuation, which we have just said now.
Yeah.
Then you look at the fundamentals of the company, whether they have been able to maintain consistency in terms of revenue, earnings. Then most importantly, you have to look at the trading liquidity of the stock, which is very, very key. And that's why you see banking stocks are doing very well, because as for the past 3 months, the banking stock have occupied that position, the first, the second, the third, the fourth most traded stocks on NGX.
Yeah, true.
So that liquidity is very, very important, even when we are buying, because the most important thing is for you to be able to go out, come in, and go out.
Is there enough liquidity in FMCGs?
Yes, I think the most ranked company among the ones we've just mentioned is Nigerian Breweries. I think it's ranked 51 most traded stock. So you can see that. So, but other ones like the banking stock are better ranked than them.
Obviously. Obviously.
So they're better ranked than them. And most
How about
of them,
the telcos?
The same thing, some other ones like the BUF Foods, BS Men, Dangote are tightly held. So there is not much liquidity there.
True.
There are not much liquidity, but because I think Dangote has both direct and indirect, has over 80% holding in Dangote Cement. The same thing with BUF Foods and BUF Cement. So, but for me, yes, I'll look at the banking stocks, even though they have not, because of their
liquidity,
trading liquidity.
Yeah. Idikaja, thank you very much. You've said a lot, and you've heard from him. He's going to look at the banking stocks, but then when you're looking at investing in a dividend-paying stocks, make sure you take a look at a company that has solid fundamentals and has stood the test of time. A company that can withstand whatever shock that comes in from the economy and will still make a lot of profit, and that have been able to go cut into the teeth of the Nigerian economy and even the consumers at large. And that's it on this episode of In Good Company. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. It's been a great time. Brought to you by Nairametrics Television. I'll see you on the next episode. Cheers.